Andrew Yang joined CNN as their newest political commentator. Now, this is huge news for a lot of us in the Yang gang. We did not see this coming, but here is what we know, and I'll also go ahead and give some of my personal analysis on this move. So, what do we know? Andrew Yang joined CNN. He'll be providing analysis on the election, and he'll be able to give insight into this race that other commentators wouldn't be able to provide. You know, as someone who recently suspended his campaign, he knows what these candidates are like behind closed doors. He's had intimate conversations with all of them, and he's been contacted by pretty much every campaign to possibly join their movement. A lot of us are sort of waiting on bated breath to see what Andrew Yang will do next. He's supposed to have a really big announcement, but apparently this isn't the really big announcement. So we're all unsure of how Andrew Yang's role will play out at CNN. We don't know if he's going to have his own show, sort of like a Rachel Maddow. We don't know if he's going to be one member on a panel of people discussing issues. We don't know if he's going to be interviewing candidates. So it'll be interesting to see how they can integrate him into election coverage without being too biased. You know, as much as I like Yang, I also understand that it could be a conflict of interest. But then again, who knows? A lot of people at CNN actually do really like and get along with Andrew Yang. In particular, Van Jones has been a huge supporter of the Yang gang, so I'm sure that they will both, you know, figure something out. Who knows? You might even see a Andrew Yang and Van Jones show. At this point, anything could happen. I also know that in the previous town halls that were moderated by CNN, they were a lot more fair to Andrew Yang than the town halls moderated, for example, by MSNBC. So there is definitely a strong relationship over there. And on Twitter, a lot of CNN hosts have been congratulating Andrew and, you know, inviting him for lunch. So a lot is going to be happening, and it's going to be really interesting to see this shift from Andrew Yang being at the face of the Yang media blackout and being ignored by all these media outlets to becoming potentially a critical part of that media. Now, here is my personal analysis. First off, I commend him for staying true to his word. You know, for Yang, it was never about being the president. He didn't join this because he wanted that particular position. He joined the race because he felt that was the most clear path to solving the problems that got Donald Trump elected in the first place. So let me go ahead and play this video clip so we can get some context on where his mind is at. So this is before he announced this signing with CNN, and this is after he suspended his campaign.
You're out of the race now. Who is the Democratic candidate best able to do that, to counter not just Trump himself, but Trump the message in the general election? Are you endorsing anyone?
Well, right now we're still obviously reflecting on our own campaign. I'm already on the record saying I will support whoever the Democratic nominee is. And this process is very important for voters to make their voices heard and see what the direction of the party is. So no endorsements right now, though other candidates have been reaching out to me over the last number of hours, which I appreciate a great deal.
Andrew, I think many people discounted you way too early. Many people didn't think you'd make it this far. Are you going to run again?
Well, certainly the problems that animated my campaign are not going away. And I'm not going away. You know, the Yang Gang's not going away. So the plan is to keep on pushing the ideas of this campaign across the finish line. So we're not going anywhere, and I would certainly not rule out running for office again.
Andrew, how do you feel about the bottom of a ticket? Do you want to be a vice presidential candidate?
Well, I would certainly be honored to serve as someone's running mate. I'm already on the record too saying if I can solve these problems as someone's vice president, a member of an administration, we just need to start solving these problems for the next generation, and I'm happy to do my part. I'm also happy to do my part to campaign for the nominee and beat Donald Trump in the fall.
So, for anybody who's worried that Andrew's gonna, run for third party, he's not. He has already clearly stated that he's gonna go ahead and support the nominee. Now, his move to CNN is an opportunity to make his ideas mainstream. I think anybody who's been online knows that the Yang Gang had a phenomenal presence in the digital space. But in terms of outreach to older communities who rely on cable news, landing on CNN is a phenomenal opportunity to reach millions of people who he didn't have access to before due to the Yang media blackout. As much as we, can criticize media outlets like MSNBC and CNN, I think it's also important to recognize that they are a dominant force in media and news in America. But I judge a publication by their individual reporters and journalists, because you have criticisms of the New York Times and MSNBC and CNN, but individual writers are the ones who make or break that particular publication. So, I don't think that he's going to be bending his values for the sake of CNN. There are a couple of people who try to say that he ran for president because this is what he wanted all along, which I find kind of hilarious, because you don't have to run for president to be a commentator on CNN. And I think this is a fantastic strategic move to position himself favorably for 2024. He'll be able to popularize his ideas such as universal basic income and the viability of a value-added tax. He'll also be able to commentate on other politicians and their economic plans and their solutions to the same problems that he was trying to address with his campaign. I'm really interested to see him challenge the likes of Mayor Bloomberg and Pete Buttigieg and also Donald Trump. And we will also probably see him make an endorsement. So this definitely isn't the end of Andrew Yang's career, not by a long shot. And it's definitely not the end of universal basic income. So for anybody in the Yang Gang, anybody who is a UBI basic income activist, this is definitely something to celebrate for, because this is just the start. So we'll go ahead and see how his time at CNN turns out.